What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Dead Noise. I'm Chris, and thanks to the power of Zoom, I am here with the mastermind behind Minute After Midnight, Mr. Derrick Ryan. How you doing today, sir?
Doing well, bro. Super stoked to be here.
Likewise, I'm super excited to talk with you. First things first, at the time of this recording, your latest single is Masochist. It's been out for a couple weeks now. I personally have had it stuck in my head for at least the last 2.5 weeks. How has the overall reception been to it? And with it being your kind of debut single from Fearless Records since you signed with them, how has the overall reception been, and how excited are you to have this kind of attention on you?
Man, I think it's been great. According to our data guy, we had, our biggest first week of streams ever in the history of Minute After Midnight. So that was very encouraging. And yeah, like I've been saying, man, it's like to be where I am in the shoes that I'm in now and signed with such an incredible label like Fearless, man. I just woke up all of a sudden in a dream, bro.
And I'm assuming you grew up like listening to a ton of bands that were on Fearless's roster. I mean, how could you not?
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
today, they still have an incredible roster. So when you got the news or when those conversations started happening between you and the label, was it kind of like a dream state where like, is this really happening? Like what was your reaction like?
Yeah, man, it was pretty unreal. So I'll just spill the beans. I'm 31, so I am an elder emo. So, I was listening to Mayday Parade, Forever the Sickest Kids, Pierce the Veil. I don't know if they were with Fearless. But were they with Fearless back then in the day? Like
I'm
the
not
older?
sure. I know they are now, but
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm an elder emo, and I was having conversations with a bunch of different labels. So like basically it all kind of hit me at once, and I was super grateful for anyone that gave me the time of day to, consider giving me money to record albums. But there was something so special about Fearless in the way that Andy approached me. Andy's the president of the label, and yeah, bro, I just remember right before that first conversation taking a video, and it was the only time that I took a video before any of the meetings that I had with the other labels. And I just had to remind, 14, 15-year-old me, like, dude, you were here, and it was absolutely surreal. And they've just been so kind to me already and made me feel like a part of a literal family. So it it's super special, man.
yeah, they've got I always say like you can't depend on legacy acts because every record label has a handful of bands that they could just stay with for the rest of their tenure and be totally fine. But the fact that labels like Fearless and Spine Farm are still stacking up their rosters with bands like You and Creeper and Windwalkers, it's like it's so nice to see these younger artists. And yes, I'm labeling you a younger artist.
Hey,
Um,
thank you, bro. Make my night, bro.
But it's nice to see people get in the spotlight instead of just relying on the already established slash nostalgia acts. I think it's really cool. And Fearless is such a great fit for you too.
Dude, I couldn't agree more. And yeah, man, giving, the up and comers a shot. And it's like, I gambled with my life on, making music a career. And I like to say I went in on red and we hit, baby. But, it's also, selling records is a gamble for them. And I'm just super happy that, they took a chance on me and, I anticipate to give back tenfold. So.
And I've heard from other artists, like, as soon as you sign to a label, a lot of people will think on the outside, like, oh, it's smooth sailing from here. When in reality, a lot of artists say your workload basically doubles, and it does become a little overwhelming. Has that been the case with you so far?
Yes, it has been in a sense. This is like I was saying earlier, this is my third podcast of the day. So there's definitely more of a demand. However, where, I kind of had to carry the weight of Minute After Midnight, like alone, because, the first six singles that I did, it was just me. I didn't have any bandmates and, I'm in charge of legitimately everything. So for me, it was kind of a relief to just have, management, my A&R and PM just to be able to conversate with and go back and forth. But yeah, the workload has picked up. I'm not on the road yet, so like I'm able to manage a lot more than other artists that are out there busting their ass on the road. But it's definitely been a different experience for me, and it's just nice to have, a team behind the project.
I was kind of curious about that because even when Tori and I were setting this up, everything was like it wasn't normally when we discuss interviews, it's like, oh, do you want to talk to the band? Do you want to talk to a member of the band? When it came to this interview, she's like, "Oh, do you want to talk to him?" And it's minute after midnight, and he's like, "Oh, he is available this time. He does this." I was like, I'm kind of curious, like, what's the overall songwriting dynamic? And when the time comes to be playing more shows live, like, do you have a solidified lineup, or is it kind of like a revolving door?
Yeah, so I have three guys that, are my first string musicians. They all tour, in other acts at times. So like there's a second string musicians that come in as well. So as for the writing process, I handle all of that and then I take it to the producer and we finish that. So
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, it is always nice to kind of have your own type of creative spin when it comes to making the music, but of course, when it comes to performing it, you have options as to who's available and who you want to work with and stuff like that. So that's really nice.
absolutely. And I think in the future, I do love and value the members that I do have in the band. And as we move forward, and I know that like they're here to stay, like no matter what, like I'd be willing to, take promos with the band and do stuff like that. But it's just always bothered me seeing bandmates lose members and it affects the integrity of the project, like, sorry, that's just how it was for me as a fan listening moving forward. Listening to music back in the day, but it's not that I'm like trying to exclude them in any single way. I just need to know that they're here to stay and there can't be minute after midnight without me. Like so I also like if it ever happens, y'all have to put a stop to it because it's not minute after midnight. So if anything happens, bro, that's not in the will. It's not allowed. Let it go with me. So I am just stating that now.
I'm gonna make sure to isolate that clip if and when the time comes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hey,
Please.
this is what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it though, because you look at how many bands nowadays only have one original member left in the band, or no original members, and they're still like touring, and it's
Yeah.
kind of I have a hard time with that as a
Weird.
fan, depending on the band anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I mean, it's like at least have one guy. I mean, come on, but like if it was the bass player that no offense to any bass players, all bass players we're all equal, we're all the same here. But like just start something new, man. Like don't, carry on. I don't know. I'm just weird about it, man. I'm not gonna say too much. I might piss some people off. But yeah, obviously there's circumstances where it makes sense, but like yeah, no minute after midnight without me.
I like that. Put the samp on it now so it doesn't become a problem in the future for sure.
Exactly.
And with Masochist, it lyrically and musically, it reminds me of like some of my favorite bands growing up, like Senses Fail and Alkaline Trio, in the sense that the music is very upbeat and catchy, whereas the lyrics are like polar opposite and it's actually pretty dreary. How much fun is it to kind of juxtapose those two emotions together?
Um, well, it's kind of a joy, and I like that you said that it made you think of like some of these older bands because I like to think of my music as modern nostalgia because I
Hmm.
think there's obviously such a big influence of all the bands that were doing Warped Tour and stuff like that. But yeah, with Masochist, it started out as a pretty dreary, kind of sad song with the instrumental initially. And then, so I got to shout out Matt Good because, like, I had these scars all over my skin remind me I'm a masochist. I think it was actually the bridge that the hook was going over. And then, with the signing and Fearless and, spending more money, I was completely receptive to collaborating fully. So, like, me and him were just able to mesh together, like, this thing that it was like our little child, and just shout out to him for listening to all of my different ideas and just listening to me, basically word vomit till we came up to this something cool. And so it was a really fun process, and I'm happy that it turned out the way it did.
And to have a writing partner like Matt Good, who's got the resume that he has, what's it like to kind of work with him as an upcoming artist? Like, what's he been able to not teach you, but like bring to the table in the creative process that you might have not considered before?
Well, he has taught me a lot. I mean, he has no problem telling me when something's not good, and it's not. I've been, stumbling forward for 16 years, so I appreciate the constructive criticism. I don't want people to yes man me and limit what could be something that's even better. I mean, just tracking with him helped me grow as a vocalist, instrumentally, in my own productions, just getting to sit beside him and watch him do it. So, I mean, and then also, with moving forward with the label and stuff, he was, I see him as a friend, but like I also respect him as the legend that he is. So it's like, it's balancing it out to be like, yes, you are emo royalty. But at the same time, Matt's just a normal person like everybody else. And, we joke around and chop it up. So I just appreciate him being, normal, just like a normal dude. He's not like his ego's not through the roof. He's just a fucking grounded guy. And I'm sorry, I don't know if we're allowed to cuss on the podcast. I
Fuck yeah,
was
you
the
can.
last. Okay, I don't know. So the last one, he was like, "Yo, dude, yeah." He's like, "You can cuss, you can say whatever." And then the podcast before that, I was like, I said the word ass, and I was like, "Can I say ass?" But anyways,
I
yeah,
know I know some are probably maybe sticklers for that because of censorship, but I'm Italian. I don't care.
I think I'm Italian too. Don't quote me. I'm pretty sure. At least I have some in my ancestry.
Yeah, I'm 50-50. I'm half Italian, half Irish. So cursing is my main language. English is my second.
I love that.
But yeah, I completely agree with what you said about like your dynamic with Matt Good because in my experience of doing these interviews and photography and stuff with Dead Noise, I've kind of had similar dynamics. And I'll look at somebody, I'm like, I grew up listening to your music and like seeing your shirts in Hot Topic. But then at the end of the day, it's like, oh, we're just homies at this point. And it's kind of a weird uh, juxtaposition when you snap out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just respecting him as a master, like me being the grasshopper, but like also just being like, it's just talking shit to each other and about life and stuff. It's a cool dynamic, man. I'm thankful for him.
And with this being your kickoff single, like announcing your signing to Fearless, I feel like I might already know the answer to this, but I feel the need to ask it anyway. Is this part of a bigger project, like an EP or a full length in the works for maybe next year?
It's just a matter of time before you all find out.
Perfect answer. Well, I know for a fact by the time people see this interview, there may or may not be a reimagined track of one of your older bangers. I mean, this will be out by then, so I'm comfortable saying it. It's
Oh,
Ghost reimagined.
yeah,
Um,
Ghost Reimagined is coming out December 5th. I kind of heckle the people on TikTok. It's like, when is it coming out? And I'm like, it's never coming out. Forever. Um, yeah, we've kind of, it was just kind of one of like the extra things that I had before I was signed, and I wanted to, give that to Fearless and let them do their thing with it. When we signed, they didn't take any part of my back catalog, so I still fully own Ghost, and that was also, a big factor for me in signing with them. Is like they didn't even ask for my back catalog, and I was like, "Oh my God, you're gonna let me keep this?" So it was like a no-brainer in that aspect. But yeah, Ghost Reimagine, December 5th.
Ghost, when it came out, was a really big song for you. It was on Octane. Was it in regular rotation? I know it was on Test Drive for a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, man. We got through test drive, and I want to say they played it at least 700 times. So it's like it was unbelievable. I mean, I really like. That it was so insane how often that they were playing it. I think at one point it was like like the top 19, top 20 songs that they were playing. So shout out Octane for, taking a chance on me as well. And shit was wild, bro.
That was a great song to take a chance on too, because even setting this up with Tori, she's like, "Oh yeah, my personal favorite song of his is Ghost," and then I went down the rabbit hole of listening to your entire catalog because I saw the press release when Masochist came out. I'm like, "Oh, let me." This sounds familiar, and then she said Ghost, and I looked up Ghost. I'm like, I know this song, and to have to bring a reimagined version as part of this Fearless partnership is a really cool move too.
Yeah, man. I totally agree. And I'd actually done Ghost with Matt before any of this. I think for that song, it was way more fleshed out, you know, like I pretty much had the whole demo already done. He added his little flair to it, but like, yeah, working with Matt has just been super awesome. And he was, you know, in my corner before I even had a deal. So he took a chance on me as well. So.
I know a lot of bands they'll do reimagined versions of their songs, and it sometimes it's just like a an acoustic version with the same chord structure, same melody, but other times it's like this piano epic and string arrangements and stuff like that. Because I haven't heard it yet, how does the reimagined version compare to that of the regular version?
So the reimagined version is piano and strings, and the cello player on it is actually a literal legend. Shout out Dave Edgar. Bro, he's worked with, you know, every major artist in the world, Evanescence. I mean, he composed the strings to the that Coldplay song. I don't even La Vida something. You guys will know what I'm talking about. Like he is I mean, probably if not the best cello player in the world, I mean, top five. And just so happened, you know, I met him in my hometown through one of my best friends, Matt, at Audio Oasis, and we did it there. And they're both literal prodigies and legends in themselves. So it's like, yeah, it's very special. And the cello, I think itself is like from like the early 1900s or 1800s, you know, it's like a two, $300,000 cello that he used. So it's just like you can almost hear the ghost stringing it, man. Like it's special, bro. And to just have Dave on that track meant a lot to me and super humble guy and literal legend. I mean, Google him, Dave Edgar. It's worth the look just to see what all he's done. So.
I like what you said earlier about your sound of being like modern nostalgia kind of. So
Yep.
for people that might not be super familiar with your sound and your music, who would you say are some of your biggest musical influences?
So, like for Minute After Midnight, I think my sound is kind of, you know, it's not really boxed in to like one thing. I mean, I kind of like to push the boundaries on how far I can go with it. I think there was like a core four bands that literally like shaped me, and that was like Fall Out Boy, My Kim, Bring Me the Horizon, and Avril Lavigne. Um, like in my younger years, so like those were the core four for me. But I think, you know, Minute After Midnight just it's literally like Warped Tour all in one. Like it's literally the influence of All Time Low and We the Kings, Mayday, even some of like the harder stuff, you know, like I mean Masochist kind of has like a Bill Murray vibe is I think that's what me and Matt kind of discussed.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to pinpoint like who it is that we exactly sound like. I mean, you could be like it's like Sleeping with Sirens and Pierce the Veil had you know, a child and maybe that's kind of like who I'd compare us to because it's like the high tenor vocals, but like I couldn't really say like one band in particular that I think that we sound like, but I'm also biased and you know, I'd love to hear what you think.
Man, that core four was super solid. I won't lie. I grew up on all of those artists too, especially Fall Out Boy and Avril Lavigne. Like when Infinity on High came out, I that was all I listened to for like 2 years. Same with Boys Like Girls when their
Oh
first record came out.
God, yeah, dude.
I
I
remember when Love Drunk, the single dropped before the album. So underrated.
It really is, man. And I'm so glad to just see all of these like that are legacy acts now getting the respect that they deserve. Like I went to When We Were Young in Vegas and just it was just like an ocean of people. And yeah, Boys Like Girls, I mean, they were doing it. I mean, they had the song with Taylor T Swizzle before it was even like she was even like the real deal, you know what I mean? And like it Boys Like Girls is a really special band for me, and I just like really look up to them, and his voice is just
Yeah.
totally one of its own, bro.
Have you ever seen you? I'm assuming you saw them at When We Were Young.
So
Uh-oh.
bro, this is the craziest thing ever. So, no, I did not because I was actually just hanging out in the artist village, just kind of
Mm.
chilling most of the time. I did go see a few acts. I mean, I saw Blink both nights, saw Knocked Loose, but I just didn't even like it. I knew they were there, but like for some reason it didn't clock to me. But anyways, funny story. I was actually in the porta potty, like on one of the side stages, and I walk out. And then there's Martin just standing there talking to one of the dudes at Fearless. And then, I was like, "Oh, what's up, dude?" And he's like, "What's up, man?" I'm like, "What you on? What you doing?" like, and so being in Nashville, I told him this little story because I used to take jujitsu at like Henzo Gracie, and I was in there. And one of the guys there, I was just talking to him, and he was like, "Oh, what do you do, bro?" I was like, "Oh, man, I play in a pop punk band." He's like, "Oh, yeah, I know a thing or two about pop punk." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure you do, bro." And I was like, "Oh, what band?" And he was like, "Oh, Boys Like Girls." And I was like, "Oh," so it was the drummer, John, of Boys Like Girls. So I got to share that story with Martin, and for me, that was it was special to me. So
That's definitely a really cool moment for sure. I've never gotten to see them, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I'll see them when they come to North Carolina next year because they're doing their first two albums all the way through. So I can't not go.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, they're them, Man Overboard, and Simple Plan are like th my top three as far as pop punk goes.
absolutely. Simple Plan is iconic. So. Man,
Um,
Overboard I didn't listen to much, but I trust your taste in music. So
I appreciate that. I'm trying to think of who I would like, what bands I would put together to describe your sound because I do definitely hear Bill Murray, especially in Masochist. Um, it really is a unique sound, but it reminds you of familiar songs that you grew up with. There might be a little bit of All American Rejects in there, but I'm
yeah,
not I'm not sure.
yeah, bro. Same. I always have so much trouble saying that because, dude, it's just literally I don't. I just let the music come to me. Like I
Yeah.
just like I'll get a melody or a lyric and let it out, and it's like it's been so much trial and error. So like I've never like tried to just like mimic any other artist and be like, oh, I want to sound like this. I've just kind of let what naturally comes out happen. So you'll hear all of these influences, bro, but it's like to be like, who does that sound like? It just sounds like Minute After Midnight is what I like to think.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's one of those things like you said, you're too close to the situation and I'm not close enough, so it's like a weird mix. I would say I do definitely hear a lot of Senses Fail
Right.
musically, like with the guitars and stuff.
Right.
But vocally I can definitely hear like you said, Pierce the Veil, Sleeping with Sirens to a certain degree. I mean, whatever you're doing, it's working. I love it.
I
So
appreciate that, bro. Thank you, man.
I know you've played a couple shows over the last couple years. When it comes to refining your performance and stuff like that, when it comes to like next year, I'm sure you're going to be playing more shows, especially as a signed artist now and get more support slots. What can people expect from your live show?
Well, definitely something that's memorable, high energy, and genuine. I haven't got to spend much time on the road, and we've played 11 shows in Nashville, and every show we played, we practiced one time before, like a day or two before, and went and ripped it. So it's like building that chemistry on the road. I'm so eager to get like a couple tours under my belt and get seasoned because like you know, singing in front of people is an art form just as much as like singing is itself. So like being able to channel the energy from the crowd and keep your vocal cords relaxed and stuff is going to be something that, I just look forward to just being on the road and playing more, like so that I can get used to doing that. Obviously before we do our first tour, there will be scheduled rehearsals before that and building the chemistry up with the musicians that I do have right now. So but every performance will be one of its own, and I will always give 110%, whether I suck ass or I fucking rock it. It's like, the goal is to always rock it, but I am human and I am still a developing artist, and the road has been what I've not done the most. Like in my other bands, I just played guitar and stuff
Mm.
like that. And we did short little legs, like we did the Rock Yourself to Sleep tour in an old band, and it was like not the full thing. We won it. We won 3 days with Dance Gavin Dance. So, but I was just the guitar player then. So like, my songs are very demanding on me vocally. I am 31 years old. I am a man. So it's like, um, I think I'm constantly pushing I'm constantly at the top of my range and the whole set. So it's like I look forward to also just getting like I've not had any professional training yet, and that's something my manager is going to be working on, like getting me in with somebody like Brett Manning or like, learning to scream like from like Melissa Cross and stuff like that. So I look forward to that, but like just developing that skill in itself and controlling the crowd and giving people their money's worth because like nobody wants to go to a concert and have to sing the whole song and the singer's just, holding the mic out, It's like I
Shout
want
out
to
Justin Timberlake.
dude, bro, I didn't want to say it. I was sitting there thinking it's like all of a sudden like he's listening to this podcast out of all of them and he's like, that motherfucker. For
Yeah,
him.
I
I'm
said it
coming
so
to
you
you a
wouldn't
minute
have
after
to.
midnight.
I said it so you wouldn't have to.
Oh man, that's great.
Oh, but no, I totally know what you mean though, especially because in this economy with how much concerts are, but you definitely touched on something that kind of had me curious with how vocally demanding your songs are. Do you see yourself down tuning them when you play them live or not really?
Um, that's actually a debate that I'm having with myself now. So the goal is no. The goal is to run it the way that it is so people get what they, paid for. I mean, I think that that's important. However, like protecting my voice, like it may even depend on the night. We might have a half step down version, for
Hmm.
like Ghost, dude. I mean, dude, Ghost is just hard to sing. I don't know if you've ever like tried to sing. I don't know any like if any of you guys have ever tried to sing Ghost and go all the way through it and you're not a girl, like tell me how your throat feels after that. And to me, it feels like I just got, not going to say I'm glad I didn't say what I was about to say. But anyways, it's rough. But I'm doing a lot of things now. I'm kicking every vice that has hindered that in the past. And I mean, I've never like had a major drug problem or anything like that. But definitely enjoying myself a little toke every now and then. You know what I mean? And I don't. I quit drinking for like 2.5 years, and then I've just recently kind of had a drink here and there, and I don't know. I just want to kick all of those things out of the way so that I can be, at my top tier performance. And, obviously I spend a lot of time in the gym and developing my cardio and stuff like that. So I am training for this shit.
That's always good to know because especially when it comes to legacy acts and you see older bands putting in the performances that they have, it's like, man, do they even care anymore? Like, do they even prepare for tours at this point? But to hear that up and comers still like take it seriously and they won't take it for granted just because they're on the label, that's awesome to hear.
Bro, yeah, it took so long to get here. I will never take any of this for granted, bro. It was literally, like clawed my way. It felt like up Mount Everest to just reach this point. And now I get a chance to start. Basically, it's like chapter one. So, dude, always just want to maintain my humility and give people the best that I can, and that is something that I promise, to my listeners and fans that I always will give 100% because this is all I've ever wanted. And to be in these shoes now, it's something that I don't take lightly, and I'm going to do it right. So.
And has it gotten to a point, because I know you've been doing a lot of press just in the last couple weeks, has it gotten to a point where it does kind of start to feel like work, or is it still like everything you've ever dreamed of?
I mean, there are work aspects of it, like there's some things that, obviously aren't as fun, but I actually enjoy like, these podcasts. Like I actually enjoy talking about it and, kind of telling people about my journey and stuff at this point, to me, but I'm not also not touring 24/7. Like I couldn't imagine being on the road 9 months out of the year and then, on my off days being like, okay, you have 3 podcasts to do today. We need you to make a mood board for this content shoot, but it's always been kind of like what I did for fun. Kind of like for fun, but it's like, I'm thankful for it. I'm glad. I'm happy right now. For now.
That's all that matters. I'm really curious about like your aesthetic direction and how it coincides with the music because looking at previous like cover art work and stuff like that, it seems like you do have a very specific look for your music, and I love how the Masochist video turned out. What's the overall visual direction in your opinion? Like, how would you describe that side of your music to people?
So from the first single All Over Again, I found my artist, Anubis Effects on Pexels or something like that, and I saw the artwork and it was just like this man standing on a clock and it was abstract. It had this symmetry, like sacred geometry type vibe to it. And I actually messaged him and got into personal contact. We've actually met each other in person now, but I was like, I always want to use you because like your work is unique. It it's really he lets me construct and give him ideas, but he actually will listen to the song and then make the artwork. And like to me, I was like, that's what I need, that's what I want. And he gets the vision. So like every art piece from all like that's on there that was created by him, and each one is such, I mean, they're so beautiful to look at themselves. And then like with the aesthetic of the music video, I was like, we got to have the checkered floor. We got to have, the crystal ball. I had a lot of the vision and wrote out the treatment to give to Ori in the initial stages itself. So I'm hoping to make it a conceptualized piece. So to keep the energy, like the visual going, to keep it similar as the Masochist video, if we do any more music videos, not saying if we're not. But and then yeah, like the brand itself, bro. I mean, it's all about time and timing, and music itself is keeping time. And a minute after midnight is the first minute of a new day, but it's also the witching hour in between. It's the beginning of 12 to 3 is supposed to be the witching hour, I think. Um, so there's a metaphysical aspect to minute after midnight that I just pay like homage to because like everything happened for me in divine timing with this. I don't believe in accidents in any shape or form, like good and bad, because they all ended up shaping me and who I am today. And things just aligned so much. Like at this point, I can't look at these signs from the universe as coincidence anymore. Like I believe, I know that I'm meant to be here. And minute after midnight is, just a testament to that. So,
Now, I know this was a really stock question, and bands normally hate when they're asked this, but is that where the name Minute After Midnight came from and why you decided to call the project that?
so interestingly enough, there's no relevance to Linkin Park. There's no, because they have that minutes till midnight. Everybody thinks that. And then I think on one of the earlier podcasts today, they were like, oh, is it a reference to the Boys Like Girls 5 minutes to midnight? And it was none of that. It was actually, me and a good friend, Matt Small, he's one of my best friends back at home, and he's where I tracked Ghost Reimagined at. But we were sitting in the room downstairs, we were talking about, local band names and kind of just being like, well, why would you name your band this, And it was like, I think it was like a band, that had like time in their name or something like that. And then I was like, well, why wouldn't you name it like a minute till midnight or like a minute after midnight? And then like I just kind of froze and I was like, minute after midnight. And there's just this silence, and we looked at each other, and I was like, he was like, that's already a band name, bro. That's already a band name. And I was like, no, it isn't, bro. I just came up with that. And he was like, bet me 10 grand, bet me 10 grand. And bro, he was good for it at the time. So like I knew if I shook his hand, it was a for real deal. And I wouldn't shake his hand because it felt so familiar to me, bro, that like I was like, dude, yeah, that has to be a band name already. And so, I searched it up online and immediately secured the handles. I'm so thankful to just have Minute After Midnight on Instagram and stuff like that. And in X, like you can actually fit minute after midnight. It's one word short, so it's minute after 12 a.m. But dude, I secured the handles and literally made a Facebook post because that's what you did back then. I was like, from now on, y'all gonna call me minute after midnight. That's it. So yeah, I should have shook his hand and maybe I wouldn't have taken it, but maybe I would have because he had it. So, but he's been such a great friend to me, and that is where it originated, bro. It just kind of spawned, bro.
That's so fun. It's like I see these reels on Instagram all the time of like how 90s bands got their name, and it's like, and it's just like the most random circumstance, and that's exactly what it reminds me of. I love that so much. Um, but yeah, I know for a fact I could talk to you for hours, but I don't want to take too much of your time. Th This has been a super fun conversation, and I can't wait to do it again in the future. But for now, was there any closing message to any Minute After Midnight fans watching?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to thank, all my night owls for listening and supporting me through the years and, let my journey and testimony be one to let you guys know that if you have a dream that's on your heart, all you have to do is truly believe and it'll align for you. Not when you want it to, when you need it to.
100%. Thank you so much for the time. I can't thank you enough. This was a blast. I had a lot of fun talking with you. And to everybody who watched this, thank you so much for watching. Definitely be sure to check out Masochist if you haven't already. And by the time this comes out, if you haven't listened to Ghost Reimagined, do better as a human being and listen to Ghost Reimagined. Until the next interview, stay tuned, stay scared, and I'll catch you later.